Far above the Earth, where the blue planet looked calm and distant, the UNSC Sentinel station floated in silence, its silver frame gleaming in the sunlight. Inside, a team of highly trained operators sat at glowing control panels, watching deep space. They were used to long hours with nothing but quiet beeps and soft voices. But today was different. At precisely 2:14 Earth Standard Time, something unusual happened. A deep space signal, a low, rhythmic pulse, began to echo across the station's communication array. First, no one knew what it was. It didn't match any known frequency, and it wasn't a pattern made by stars, planets, or natural waves. It was precise, almost too perfect. Commander Ria Navarro, a calm but sharp-minded officer in her early 40s, stepped forward as alerts flashed on the screen. She had spent her career preparing for every possibility, but this wasn't something she'd ever trained for. The signal kept repeating, and the room filled with a strange tension as decoding AIs worked to translate it. Then came the result, rough, uncertain, but chilling. The message read, "Surrender your cradle world or be purged." No one moved. For a moment, even the machines seemed to fall quiet. Ria narrowed her eyes at the screen, her voice steady as she ordered a full alert across the planetary defense grid. The crew quickly began to relay the signal to Earth's highest command. Humanity had always wondered if it was alone in the universe. Scientists sent messages into space for decades, hoping for contact, hoping, perhaps, for peace. But what had arrived wasn't a greeting. It was a threat. Across the world, leaders gathered in secure rooms, while satellite arrays scanned the far reaches of the solar system. Then, they found a massive object moving behind Saturn, hidden in the planet's shadow. It was not a natural object. It was too fast, too controlled, and its energy signature pulsed in time with the signal. The object, soon confirmed to be a fleet of unknown design, was coming straight toward Earth. Panic didn't spread like fire, though. Humanity had changed. Over the last 100 years, after surviving climate collapse, near conflict, and the long rebuilding of the 21st century, Earth had united in a way that was once thought impossible. The planet now stood under a shared banner of science, peace, and defense. And more importantly, it had prepared. Project AEGIS, a planetary shield and defense initiative, had been quietly built in orbit, with its systems linked to AI threat analysis and powerful satellite weapons. On Mars, Luna, and in the asteroid belt, smaller colonies had developed secret technologies, experimental weapons, communication jammers, and fast-response strike teams. They had planned for disasters. They had not expected this. Back on Sentinel Station, Ria watched as the alien fleet adjusted course. It was slow, careful, and confident. Whoever they were, they didn't see Earth as a challenge. Maybe they had done this before. Maybe they had conquered others who couldn't fight back. But Earth was not without its strengths. But it had resilience. It had creativity. And now it had something else. A reason to stand together. In every command center across the globe, teams activated defense systems. Satellites spun into new orbits. Drones launched from the Martian surface. Signal went out to the lunar base. Readiness level red. And still, the alien fleet came on. What? Ria didn't blink as she watched it approach. Her voice, calm and steady, cut through the rising tension. They think we're weak. Let's prove them wrong. For the next few hours, Earth watched the stars, waiting. Civilians didn't yet know what was coming. News of the signal was being held until more was understood, but above their heads. The most important chess game in human history was being played. Scientists analyzed every pulse of energy from the fleet. Engineers rechecked shield generators. AI systems ran billions of simulations in seconds. And the countdown began. Earth had no idea who these beings were. They had no face, no name, no demand beyond surrender. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't have known, was that Earth had already survived worse. It had survived itself, and now, united not by fear but by purpose, it would not fall quietly. As the alien fleet passed Jupiter's orbit, their signal changed faster, more urgent. It was almost as if they had noticed something. Maybe they were starting to see that Earth was not unprepared. Maybe they had scanned the wrong planet, misunderstood the quiet blue world. Or maybe they had grown too used to easy victories. Whatever the case, they were about to learn a truth no alien species had ever discovered. Humans are not to be underestimated. The stars had sent a warning, but Earth would send an answer. I would echo louder than anything that came before. The stillness of space was broken by the sudden appearance of a vast fleet emerging from behind Titan, the largest moon of Saturn. The ships, black and smooth like obsidian stones carved by ancient hands, glided forward with a terrifying grace that dwarfed anything humanity had ever built. These were the vessels of the Zarthon sovereignty, a name whispered with fear by those who studied galactic history. The Zarthon were conquerors ruthless, and Efficientan had already claimed a dozen worlds across their spiral arm of the galaxy. To them, Earth was just another small, unremarkable rock, a primitive world barely worth noticing until now. But the Zarthon did not know what humanity had become. They did not understand the years of struggle that had forged Earth's people into a united front, nor the advances in technology quietly developed in orbital stations on Mars and beyond. As the fleet crept closer, sensors on Earth's satellites and the new forward base on Mars picked up every detail of the Zarthon ships. They were equipped with weapons unlike anything humans had encountered, energy beams that could cut through steel like paper, shielding fields that shimmered with shifting colors, and engine systems that defied known physics. The Zarthon commanders, proud and confident, believed their arrival would be met with surrender or, at worst, a brief resistance. But humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment. Project AEGIS, Earth's planetary defense network, came alive in an instant. Railgun satellites launched sleek metal slugs at near-light speeds toward the approaching fleet, piercing the outer layers of the alien ships with precision. AI-guided interceptors, small, fast drones controlled by the planet's most advanced. Artificial intelligence darted between the giants like swarms of angry wasps, disabling communication arrays and engines with non-lethal electromagnetic pulses. The Zarthon weapons fired back, their laser beams cutting through space. But they had never faced an enemy that fought with such coordination and unexpected tactics. Meanwhile, on Mars, the terraforming colony transformed from a peaceful scientific outpost into humanity's first forward operating base. Engineers and soldiers worked side by side, setting up defensive perimeters and launching reconnaissance probes into the dark void. The Martian soil, once red and barren, now hummed with energy as advanced shields and jamming devices activated, scrambling enemy sensors. The Zarthon fleet was taken aback by this sudden resistance. They had expected Earth's defenses to crumble, not to respond with such strength and intelligence. Their attempts to adapt came to slowly against an enemy who had spent centuries honing war games and simulations powered by quantum computing. Earth's forces used quantum-entangled combat drones, capable of coordinating their attacks instantly. Across vast distances, the drones moved like a single organism, weaving through enemy fire and striking at critical systems. Then came the EMP kite mines. Small, floating devices that attached silently to Zarthon ships before releasing bursts of electromagnetic energy that shut down engines and weapons temporarily. These tactics were unlike anything the Zarthon had encountered, and confusion spread through their ranks. But the humans didn't stop there. Their commanders studied every movement, every weapon signature, adjusting strategies in real time with the help of AI advisors. The Zarthon's centuries of domination had not prepared them for an enemy that combined the creativity of human ingenuity with the power of advanced technology. While the Zarthon fleet tried to regroup and mount a counterattack, Earth's forces struck again. Fleets hidden in the asteroid belt revealed themselves, firing gravitational lances that warped space around enemy ships, making their movements sluggish and unpredictable. The Zarthon were forced to retreat, but not before they suffered significant damage and loss of ships. Back on Earth, the world watched in silent awe and relief as news of the unexpected victory filtered through military channels. Commander Ria Navarro and her team remained vigilant, knowing this battle was only the beginning. The Zarthon had come to invade, but they had underestimated humanity's strength, resilience, and unity. This encounter had changed everything. Earth was no longer a quiet, primitive world waiting to be conquered. It was a rising power ready to defend itself and its future among the stars. As the Zarthon fleet vanished beyond the asteroid belt, signals from the surviving ships hinted at disbelief and fear. For the first time in generations, the Zarthon faced a foe that was not easily defeated. Humanity had shown that it was not only capable of survival, but of thriving under pressure, turning desperation into innovation. And while the war was far from over, this victory sent a clear message across the galaxy. Earth would not be taken lightly. As the Zarthon fleet approached Mars, the tension across human command centers grew tighter than ever before. The Red Planet, once seen only as a distant outpost of scientific curiosity and slow terraforming efforts, had now become the front line of Earth's defense. Mars' vast deserts and rust-colored plains hid more than ancient rock. Beneath its surface lay secrets crafted by decades of secret research and quiet military preparation. Suddenly, just as the alien vessels closed in, an eerie silence blanketed the fleet. Communications systems flickered, sensors failed, and the familiar hum of advanced alien technology vanished in an instant. The Zarthun commanders scrambled to understand what was happening, their ships becoming blind and deaf in the cold depths of space. Unbeknownst to them, the Mars defense grid had activated its most powerful secret weapon, the null halo. This energy disruption field, developed quietly deep beneath the Martian soil by a coalition of Earth's top scientists and engineers, was unlike anything previously seen. It emitted a broad-spectrum pulse designed to interfere with electromagnetic signals and energy flows, disabling electronic systems over a wide radius without causing physical damage. Ships caught in the null halo's grip found their shields flickering and weapons offline. Engines coughed and died. The Zarthon, so used to domination through sheer force, suddenly faced a crisis they had never imagined. While the null halo disrupted the alien technology, elite human strike teams prepared for the next phase of the plan. These teams were not ordinary soldiers. They were specially trained and cyber-augmented, adapted to survive in space with enhanced reflexes and advanced exoskeleton suits. Their mission was precise: board the disoriented Zarthon vessels and disable them using non-lethal force, preventing unnecessary destruction and preserving valuable technology for study. As their silent shuttlecraft glided through the disrupted field, the human operatives moved like shadows, quickly overcoming the scattered Zarthon crews with well-coordinated tactics. Their tools were designed for precision hacking devices that took control of ship systems, magnetic restraints that incapacitated but did not harm, and energy nets that subdued the aliens without injury. Zarthon warriors bred for conquest and accustomed to swift victories found themselves confused and vulnerable for the first time in centuries. Fear, a foreign emotion to their kind, rippled through the ranks. The once mighty warships became floating prisons as the humans seized control, turning enemy vessels into silent hulks drifting in Martian orbit. Back on Mars, the null halo pulsed rhythmically, maintaining its hold on the fleet while drones and repair units worked to secure the captured ships. The Martian skies, though still empty of atmosphere, buzzed with activity as humans prepared for what might come next. Commanders in the orbital stations and on the surface shared grim determination. The Zarthon had believed their technology and numbers would guarantee victory. Instead, they faced a new kind of enemy, one that used brains over brawn, strategy over brute force. Earth's response was not simply to meet violence with violence, but to outthink and outmaneuver the invaders at every turn. As news of the successful boarding actions reached Earth, a cautious optimism spread among scientists, soldiers, and civilians alike. The image of humanity as helpless prey was shattered. Instead, people saw a species capable of facing the unknown with courage and intelligence. Yet the battle was far from over. The Zarthon fleet, though weakened and confused, was still dangerous. Commanders debated whether to retreat or regroup for a renewed assault. but the shadow of Mars' unexpected weapon hung heavy over their decisions. The realization dawned that Earth's defenses were far more advanced than anyone had guessed, and Mars was no mere rock waiting to be conquered. It was a fortress, a symbol of human ingenuity and will. Commander Ria Navarro, overseeing operations from orbit, allowed herself a brief moment of satisfaction, but refused to let her guard down. The war was entering a new phase, one where every victory had to be earned, and every failure could mean extinction. For the Zarthon, this was a harsh lesson. Their centuries of dominance had never been challenged by an enemy like Earth. The silence they once enjoyed in the void was broken, replaced by the hum of human innovation and resolve. Fear was now part of their reality, and the humans, united and determined, stood ready to meet whatever came next. The stars, once distant and mysterious, now watched as the battle for the future of humanity played out on the red plains of Mars. And the vastness of space beyond, the Zarthan fleet, battered and disoriented after their unexpected losses near Mars, began a cautious retreat, hoping to regroup and reassess their strategy far from Earth's growing defenses. They moved slowly toward the inner solar system, seeking a place to repair and plan their next move. But what they didn't know was that Earth had one more surprise waiting for them in the shadows of the asteroid belt, a place once thought empty and insignificant. From behind clouds of rock and ice, a new wave of Earth's most advanced warships slipped quietly into position. These cloaked cruisers, hidden by layers of stealth technology and electromagnetic camouflage, were unlike any ships the Zarthon had faced before. Their hulls were covered in dark alloys that absorbed light and radar signals, making them nearly invisible to even the most sensitive alien scanners. What made them truly deadly, however, were the weapons they carried: gravitational lances, devices capable of bending space and time in small but powerful ways, ripping apart enemy ships without the need for explosive force. Alongside these silent cruisers, AI tacticians ran battle simulations at lightning speed, learning and adapting with every moment, outthinking any commander relying on instinct or tradition. As the Zarthan tried to pull back, they found themselves caught in a tightening noose. The cloaked cruisers struck quickly, disabling engines and navigation systems with pinpoint precision. The AI commanders coordinated counterattacks that forced the Zarthon ships into defensive formations they had never used before. Panic and confusion spread among the alien fleet as their attempts to escape were blocked by unseen enemies striking from all directions. Back on Earth, leaders watched the unfolding battle with a mixture of relief and determination. They had prepared for the worst, but hoped for peace. Now, as the Zarthon fleet faltered, the message from humanity was clear: you are not welcome. Here, we didn't ask for war, but we're very good at it. Diplomats readied themselves, hoping to open channels of communication before further destruction could occur. They understood that even in war, there was room for negotiation and reason, yet Earth's strength could not be ignored. Among the captured Zarthon was an admiral, a high-ranking officer brought in a guarded shuttle to Earth orbit. This alien leader, once proud and certain of victory, now faced a very different sight. From space stations circling the blue planet, two cities glowing with peaceful life below, the admiral witnessed something unexpected: humanity's unity. Nations once divided by politics, culture, and history had come together as one force for survival and progress. Flags from every continent flew side by side, not as symbols of conflict, but as signs of cooperation and shared destiny. The admiral listened as Earth's leaders spoke not just of war, but of hope, science, and a future where many species could coexist. It was a moment that challenged everything the Zarthon believed about humanity. They had expected a primitive race, easy to conquer and control. Instead, they found coordination, creativity, and relentless resilience. The admiral realized, perhaps too late, that their underestimation of Earth had been their greatest mistake. Far from breaking under pressure, humans adapted and evolved, turning every challenge into an opportunity. The battle in space continued. But with each passing hour, the Zarthon found themselves pushed back, their plans unraveling before their eyes. Earth's forces were not just defending their home, they were sending a message across the stars. The universe had witnessed many conquests, many empires rising and falling. But Earth was different. It was a world where survival was not just about strength, but about heart, unity, and unwavering will. The Zarthon fleet, once the terror of the galaxy, now faced a new reality. They had awakened a force they could neither understand nor control. And as the stars shone down on the silent asteroid belt where Earth's cloaked cruisers waited, a quiet truth settled across the cosmos. Humanity was no longer the species to be conquered. They were the species to be reckoned with. The shattered remains of the Zarthon fleet drifted like ghostly relics through the vast emptiness of space. Scattered fragments of alien technology floating in the wake of their hurried retreat. Their once mighty armada, so confident and overwhelming just days before, now bore the scars of unexpected defeat and human resilience. Earth's forces had not only pushed them back, but had captured pieces of their advanced machinery, their strange energy cores and cryptic devices humming with unfamiliar power. Scientists and engineers on Earth, Mars, and orbital stations worked tirelessly to study these relics. Not with the goal of immediate conquest, but with a deeper purpose: preparation. They understood that the galaxy was vast, filled with countless civilizations, and the Zarathon had been just one wave of an approaching tide. Humanity's victory was only the first chapter in a much larger story. There were lessons to be learned from every broken ship, every encrypted data chip salvaged from the wreckage. The fusion of Zarthon technology with human innovation promised to usher in a new era of advancement: safer, more powerful propulsion systems, enhanced defense mechanisms, and communication networks that could span entire solar systems in an instant. Yet, amid this flurry of scientific breakthrough, the people of Earth did not celebrate with reckless joy or premature triumph. Their victory was solemn and cautious. They remembered the cost of war, the lives lost and changed forever, and the shadows of threats still lurking in the darkness beyond their sun. Governments united in shared vigilance, forming alliances that transcended old borders and rivalries. Global defense initiatives expanded, incorporating lessons from the Zarthon invasion and preparing for threats no one yet fully understood. It was clear that if one species had dared to come to Earth with war in their hearts, others might one day follow. Commander Ria Navarro stood aboard the Unity, Earth's newest and most advanced flagship, a vessel born from collaboration between the brightest minds on the planet. From the bridge, she gazed into the endless black canvas speckled with stars, silent witnesses to humanity's struggle and growth. The vastness of space, once a source of mystery and fear, now felt like a challenge waiting to be met. "Let them come," she said softly, the weight of her words carried by the hum of the ship's engines. "We've only just begun." Her voice was steady, filled with quiet strength and the promise of resilience. Around her, the crew worked with a sense of purpose, each knowing that the battles ahead would test more than just firepower. They would test the very spirit of humanity. As the Unity prepared to leave Earth's orbit and join the patrols guarding the solar system, there was a shared understanding. This was not the end of conflict, but the beginning of a new era. The universe, which had hoped to find a quiet, primitive Earth, had instead awakened a sleeping giant. The planet that once seemed isolated and insignificant was now a beacon of determination and innovation, ready to defend itself and its people against any threat. Humanity's story was no longer one of survival alone. It was one of awakening, growth, and a fierce promise to protect the cradle of their existence. As the stars shimmered in the endless night, Earth's defenders stood vigilant, eyes turned toward the unknown, ready to face whatever echoes beyond the stars might come their way.